Hi everyone, my name is Thomas Kim. Today is May 17th, 2019. This is my 15th episode about the future of C++ programming, C++ 2A standard. In this episode, we will learn how to cope with exception leaks from C++ constructor. We will learn the consequences of the exception leaks from the C++ constructors such that we can prepare ourselves for exceptional situations. We will also learn about function try block for exception handling. Exception leaks from the C++ constructor is one of my favorite features of C++ language. Most people say exception leaks from C++ constructor is very dangerous, while we never leak exceptions from C++ constructor, but that's not true. If we can take advantage of exception leaks from the C++ constructor, we can actually program transactional application. We can take advantage of exception leaks from the C++ constructors and can easily make transactional application. So I will try to give you new insight about how exception is useful in some future sessions. To follow this episode, please double click this link. Please note that this episode continues from my previous session, so you have to watch this episode if you understand and follow this episode. From this episode, please double click this link to download the source code. Show in folder, and if you unzip it, this is the source code, you can find this file, okay, this folder. So please copy this folder and open it in Visual Studio Code. Without further ado, let's get started. In Visual Studio Code, this is the folder, and I will create exception from constructor CPP. Control V, include IO stream, include string, include exception. In C++, the destructor of the only fully constructed objects will be called. That is, if the object of a C++ class is partially constructed, its destructor will not be called. Understanding this concept is really important. Let's see what I mean. Class member field private std string m name public. I copy this class name, constant character pointer name, m name, name. Here std cout member field constructor for this m name is called. I will copy this member function, copied, pasted. This is destructor. Destructor does not need a name, so I remove this. I modify like this. Okay, we created a class. Don't forget semicolon here. Now we are creating a class partial initialization. So I am creating a class like this. private member field M member A int ptr null ptr, we initialize to null member field M member B public. I will copy this. This is constructor. I will put another member here. int M make fail. Okay, I created a member make fail here. In this level, int throw exception. Constant character name msg. Here I will create a class exception std. I will make it public std exception semicolon. Don't forget semicolon here. Private std string m message public. I create like this constant character pointer here m msg message. So this is constructor virtual constant character pointer what constant. Don't forget no except. C++ syntax has changed. If I don't provide it, it will provide error. Okay, then why is squiggle? Okay, then constant character message msg. No, this is not possible. I copied here. Return msg c str. Then overwrite. As I mentioned, C++ syntax changed. C++ 17 syntax changed. It will give either warning or error message from C++ conformant compiler. Now we defined a class inside the function. Now we can throw like this. Throw exception msg. Okay. So it cannot return value, but it throws message like this. Then here, now we initialize in order. I explained about this. We have to initialize in the order of declaration. That's the proper way. Okay. Now we initialize ptr like this. Ptr new int. Memory leak is unavoidable. Then mmake fail. Okay. Now we initialize by calling this function. Okay. By calling this function initialization of m make failed with exception. Okay, so here lastly, if we call this function throws exception like this. Why is squiggle? Sorry, this is function like this. This is function, so we have to fix like this. It will throw exception. Then lastly, this is first member. Then this is last member. This member B, we are initializing B. Then B. Okay. These are initialization list and exception will be thrown here. Now constructor body std cout. I copy this constructor function name will not be called if exception is thrown. I will divide it like this. Okay. In C language it is possible. And I will put another string in the initialization list. std and there. Okay. Now I create destructor. This is destructor std cout. If an exception is thrown in the initialization process of a constructor, this destructor will not be called at all. So we created a destructor. Now we are testing this function. We need to include the memory leak detect. Include memory leak detect. Okay. So this library does not work with GNU or Clang. It only works for Microsoft. Anyway, void examine exception thrown from constructor. Okay, try from this block. We call this partial initialization class here partial initialized object. Okay, we detect memory leak, mem leak checkpoint. I create anything. Then now let's see int main. In case of Microsoft compiler, I will disable it for the time. And I will also disable it. I will call this function. So let's start command prompt. We will try with GNU, G++, std, C++17, exception from constructor, cpp, hit enter. See, loser throw specifier for virtual constant throw. It gives some error message. Is this error or warning? This message is coming from here. The syntax has changed. It is no except. Okay. If we fix like this, then it should work. So understand the C++ language has changed. See? Now let's see here. First, we initialize member A. Member field for A is called. This is successfully initialized. This code is successfully initialized. And this is also initialized successfully. In this case, mmake failed. Initialization of mmake failed with the exception. Because this function, we put this message passed here, it throws the exception. This exception is caught again here. So if we put here delete ptr, it does not work. It does not work because if an exception is thrown in the initialization process in the constructor, this destructor won't be called at all. In C++, the destructor is called only when the constructor completed without exception. Okay? Before we further proceed, I will make a few changes to our exception class. Instead of doing this, I will simply change constant character ptr message like this, and here I don't think I need this. This is good enough. I modified like this, and I will enable it to test with Microsoft compiler to check memory leak, and here I will enable it. Okay, now in command prompt, now this time we are trying with Microsoft compiler cl ehsc std C++17. We have to define debug macro, debug, then we need mdd, or you can also use mtd. Okay, I will just use mdd. Exception from constructor cpp aexe. Aexe will be created. Now cls a voila, 4 byte leaked. Okay, because here we allocated integer is 4 byte, so 4 byte leaked. Exception is thrown here. This destructor, member A's destructor is called. Destructor is called because this is not initialized at all. Member B is not initialized at all. Its constructor is not called because exception is thrown in initialization list. This constructor body partial initialization will not be called if exception is thrown. This message is not displayed at all. So exception, when exception is thrown, memory leaked. How can he fix this? How can he fix this? So I will copy this function. No, I will copy this class. Okay, I will fix that. So I copied, paste, then I will say proper. I will change scope with exception. Exception. I modified like this. Copy the class name, pasted it here, and pasted it here, pasted it here. So I modified like this. I will change it into pointer std unique ptr int. I modified like this. Okay. Now here I will copy this function once again. Copy cop with exception thrown from constructor, and I will copy this class name, copy and pasted it here. Okay, now we are calling this function copy paste. Okay, I disable it. Now we compile with once again with the Microsoft compiler. Sorry, I have to remove delete. This is not necessary. Okay, I will delete. Now this is not necessary because it has ptr is unique ptr, its destructor will be called and delete allocated memory. Okay, now let's run it. Compile once again. CLS, no memory leak. Okay, no memory leak. Even though exception is thrown, in this case cope with exception exception is thrown here because this is successfully constructed, unique ptr is successfully constructed, no memory leaks. Instead of doing this, you can also do like this: std make unique. Okay, here you can say in 0 will be initial value. Now let's try it. I compile once again. I think I have to pass int like this. Now try once again. Okay, it compiled successfully, no memory leak. Even if we throw exception here, even if exception is thrown, in the initialization process of this cope with exception, no memory leaks. Okay, so this concept is very important. I will copy this once again and I will introduce another one. I copied, pasted it here, cope with exception. I say function try block. Function try block. I modified the class name. I copy this, pasted, and pasted. Okay. Now we can modify this part of code with function try block. Delete colon. Okay. After this is constructor try. Now we have try block like this. Delete. I will copy this member initialization list. X, I cut colon here. Sorry. Colon here. Paste. I fixed like this. If no exception is thrown in this list, then this function will be called cut and paste. Okay. Then in this block, I will put a message like this. I will put a message. I don't need this, so I will remove it. I will remove this. Then here, std cout, failed initialization of try function block. I will say like this. Then we delete this part. Watch it carefully. This is constructor and this is try catch. This is initialization. This kind of thing is called, this kind of construct is called function try block in C++. Here exception is implicitly rethrown. Okay, so we can say throw is implicit in case of constructors try block, catch block. Okay, now I copy this function once again. I copy, paste. I would say exception thrown. I'll say exception thrown from constructor. Then here I will copy this function, this class, copied and paste it here. Now we call this function name copied and pasted like this. No, not this one, this one. Copy, pasted, and I will disable it. Sorry, I pasted it in wrong place. I have to copy this, cut and paste it here. Then I cut, I have to paste it here. I put it in the wrong place. Let me check. Okay, this message should be displayed and also error message. Now let's build. CLS A. Okay, sorry, failed initialization of function try block. We are trying this class. Sorry, failed initialization of function try block. This message is correctly displayed. Then this exception is rethrown implicitly. Exception is implicitly rethrown. So this exception is caught here once again. It displays initialization of mmake failed with the exception. So this is function try block. Okay. In summary, if we understand the consequence of the exception leaks from the C++ constructor, we can make good use of it for transactional programming. Probably I am the first programmer who can take advantage of exception leaks. Before I close this session, I will copy this function once again. Cope with exception. I copied and pasted it here, and I will rename constructor with no except. Okay, I copied the class name once again, paste, paste, paste. Now here I give no except, no except. Okay, I changed like this. Now here I will copy this function once again and paste. I will modify this function name constructor with no except. There is no chance of recovery. Okay, so I will copy this function class name, copy, and paste it here. It will crash. std cout. This message won't display. std and there. Okay, I copy this message. This block will never be called or executed. So finally, I will copy this function, copied and pasted it here. Now we are calling this constructor with no except specifier introduced in C++ 11. Constructor with no except specifier calls std terminate, which kills the process itself. No chance of recovery. Now let's build once again. Finally, 261 CLS A crash it. Once again, crash it. So C++ constructor specified with no except. Once exception occurs, there is no hope of any kind. Impact exception thrown from initialization list of a constructor is very useful feature. Exception thrown from a C++ constructor is really useful for transactional programming. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.